It's our opportunity now to share some insights with Mark Kantor. Mark is the Operations Support Team Lead at Lego. Mark has 20 plus years of contact center experience, and he's done everything from being a frontline agent, a manager of frontline agents, a contact center manager, a fulfillment department manager, and a manager of an escalation and helpline queue. These days, Mark works for a well-known toy company, Lego. He's responsible for managing the operations support team and a group of product specialists within the contact center. While a ton of fun, he says, this is the most challenging job he's had in his 20 plus years experience in the contact center.
Yes.
So Mark, we're gonna have to really stay on track here, because with 20 years of experience and having done it all, we could probably spend days talking with you.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and talk, if you don't mind. One thing that you mentioned that kind of drives your day-to-day environment is constantly responding to the customer's needs and their challenges. So why don't you talk a little bit about what you do with your customer support team and how that is interacted throughout the call center and your customer experience?
Certainly, Linda. What we do is make sure that orders that are placed on the web or over the phone actually flow properly through to the warehouse. So when there are issues with deliveries, carrier, or products, inventory not being right, it's our job to identify what the issue is, contact the appropriate department, whether that be IT, merchandising, marketing, the warehouse themselves, or the carriers, to get those orders flowing. Our fans are very passionate about their product. They know how long it will take from the time they order it until they receive it, and if we're outside of their expectations, it starts driving volume into the contact center.
You hear about that.
Yes,
yes,
we certainly do.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was one of the key points that I took away from learning about what you do, is that when there is a little mini crisis, and we always have mini crises in our centers, I think the thing that was so important about your being able to react to those is that it does drive traffic in the center. And certainly, as you mentioned, and you're in a wonderful position that you have such a loyal fan base, as your Lego customers, you know, that certainly drives their frustration. So how do you try to react to that? How do you try to plan for these things when you don't know what you're planning for, but they're not certainly a huge disaster? They're on a smaller scale.
Yes. So we will tend to identify the issue as quickly as possible. What is the root cause of the problem? Once we know that, we have a contact list of sections, departments within an organization, as well as specific individuals to contact. And when we learn what the root cause is, we'll reach out to those folks, explain what the situation is, talk to them about estimated times for resolution, and then we in turn will post that on wallboard so that all the advisors on the floor know what the status of the issue is. They're the first ones to know about it because the consumers are calling them asking what's wrong with my order. And then we'll put it up on the ref guide as a posting, and we will be in constant communication with the appropriate areas until the issue is resolved. And then we repeat the process with the announcement that everything is now running and back to normal.
Okay, okay. And so this then just becomes your proactive plan to react to all of the little issues that you find that may come up, from the website to a shipping problem or whatever it may be.
Yes, it could be a content issue, it could be a pricing issue, it could be a carrier issue. So we never know what's going to come our way, and we've developed a strategy to quickly identify what the issue is and then how to resolve it. And so there is a somewhat set piece end game that we have in mind, and we follow the process, and we will always work it through, and it seems to work fairly well.
Yeah, so your job is to really keep that communication open.
Yes, that's one of the key components.
The stakeholders who are responsible for the problem and resolving the issue and letting everyone else know that there is an issue.
Yes, so that the advisors, when they're speaking to consumers calling about the problem, they have an accurate assessment of what the situation is. They also have the time frames, and that communication flows freely. Consumer calls the advisor, advisor reads what we've posted, and then feeds it back to the consumer, and everybody is happy after that.
Right. Well, I would think most all of us here at the event today would love to hire you. We would all love to know that there's that kind of open communication, that we have a problem, it's feeded back to the agent who can then communicate accurately what's happening with the customer. It's just a really important strategic loop within the center.
Surprisingly so. I do believe it is. It's an often overlooked area. We actually keep things flowing when the problems arise. So I like to think that we are a very important cog in the machine, and that without us, things will grind to a halt.
Yeah. I certainly understand why you say it's your most challenging job.
Yes, the scope of responsibility is very broad.
Right.
And it is a very passionate fan base, and they must be satisfied. Otherwise, they will let us know through net promoter scores that they're not happy with the way things are working.
And social media these days.
Absolutely,
That's
that
very
too.
important. Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that was just a key takeaway from my conversation with you is that I do believe that many times we put disaster plans in place for the big issues. And that's the kind of stuff that many times our organizations require us to do. And the thing that I thought was really key about what you do, it's all those little mini issues that has such an impact on customer experience and how the agent, you know, is spending their time and their day and the resources within the organization.
Yes, and a lot of that, I think, is attributable to my staff. They are extremely knowledgeable. They know the flow process of orders and web content, how things are supposed to run. So they will often identify the issue even before it's brought up to our attention. And they'll take action without needing to contact me, because they know what has to be done based on the plan.
That's great. We always want to surround ourselves with good people.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you, Mark. We appreciate your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.